So there's three main topics today. The first one is I spoke about in a therapy with a woman named Tamar Carothers. She's not my therapist anymore, but she was last year. So this idea of free-for-all, hefker, it's not being ownerless. So basically this desire to belong, not to be ownerless, boundaryless, and this idea that it was very hurtful to me to feel like I'm just free-for-all, like I'm just like I thought on the one hand I want to belong to everyone, but I want to also belong to everyone. I also want everyone to belong to me, and I want to like have everyone belong with me. So much of my time was set to be scheduled for studies and learning and busy activity, and I wasn't allowed to just rest and recover and recharge without a guilt that I should be productive instead. And I look at this past year and how much progress I made, where rest and recovery and relaxing and just catching up with myself and integrating has become really, really very important, and just as important in some ways as producing, doing, acting. Also, this idea of denying the anger that we might feel does not remove it. It finds a place in the body to wait until the person's ready to acknowledge that violation of manipulation, betrayal, or disempowerment that was being experienced, then channel and release it, and that's underlying. And conditioning that anger is wrong, and that I would be a sin. Like the conditioning I had was that the anger is wrong, and that I'd be a sinner if I felt it consciously or admitted it was happening. And then the second topic I want to talk about is called responsibility of listening. Remember, ability to respond. Responsibility is ability to respond. So this is the ability to respond of listening. So it's about speaking, moving, acting from the pure point, that place, and also this idea of catching up to the current situation, being transformed by new information, and witnessing and allowing and noticing, learning how to wait instead of rushing to the next when the next may not even be what I wanted. This idea of roses, buds, and thorns, which is called discernment, knowing which are the roses parts of our life, by listening, which are the roses, which are the buds, and which are the thorns. Learning basically this liquefied sort of slow and softness, diluted softening, and patience for my turn, that there's a lot that can change by the time it comes to my turn. And maybe it won't be what I thought it would be by the time I get there, versus like this planning of to speak while we're listening. So really listening. And it can also be something like being stretched, which can feel good or hard for us. And it's about listening from the back, like a big ear, like my whole heart, my whole self, receiving the frequency. So it's like imagining ourselves as one big ear, even listening with the back of our body instead of always with the front. Also remembering cues can be silent or loud, and obvious or invisible. I become part of the bigger picture when I step back. So now I step back, I can become part of the bigger picture, which is when I step forward, I'm connecting with only a piece. The idea of getting the big parts out of the way, like the arms and shoulders, for example, can make space for the smaller, more subtle parts. I'm thinking of the ribs. Not worrying about letting go of energy of details that I cannot tolerate. So the things could fall away. Too much pickiness gets triggered where I have to release it, because it won't get stuck on anyone. For example, when I see litter, I don't claim it as my own. If I pick it up, it's to throw it in the garbage. So not getting too caught up, like, oh, does this person made a promise and I was there that they were going to pay this person, and then if they stay there and then they don't pay them, is it on me? And like, none of those details actually matter. Preferences do matter though, mine or others. So if details are not so important, what could I focus on? That's small picture is preferences. I like it this way. I don't like it this way. I don't like when I go to the store and I buy some plant milk from behind the counter that the container's open. I want it to be closed when I pour some. Not a new one, but just closed. And the guy totally understood me. Just an example. Letting my heart, body, and mind, my beingness really all have a seat at the table. Not just the expectation or preset ways that have become normalized. Not like the normalized self. Also, the sun, the moon, and the trees all have a song, a sound that it makes if I'm able to hear. But many sounds cannot be heard anymore that I've tuned out anymore temporarily, or that I don't pay attention because it was making a sound for so long I stopped listening or thinking it mattered. And also remembering that sounds could be bids of it for attention. And also that the quiet, the still, the silence connects me to the inner flame, which might be stable or flickering, but it's always present. And then the next piece that I want to share today is called "What Bolsters Me." This is more like a workshop thing. It's not workshop, workbook thing, which is like it's a prompt. It's like, what bolsters me, and you have to look inside of yourself. What makes you feel bolstered? Like, that's the only word I could think of. Like bolstered, like you're wearing like a harness and sturdy, like compression and up, it's lifting up, it's buoyancy, it's robustness, being blessed out loud, being thanked, being verbally appreciated, being spoken to with a soft, gentle voice that says soothing things, having casual fast, not eating or both not eating and not drinking, or abstaining from a dependency in order to connect directly with the life experience without that buffer, intermediate, booster, alterant. So this is when I release matter, substance, density. And I tried this for a few days. I didn't have any caffeine, although I have had recently. But I, just for example, because I don't really have much substances in my life now, like weed, alcohol, drugs, or whatever. Being treated like I matter, being considered, lavishly treated to food or experience by invitation or a third party. It could be just like a restaurant or an online company, being treated better than average, being attended to. And better than average is what my average is. Obviously, we don't know what someone else's average is. Having an easy time, unscheduled, decompression, no activities, requirements, tasks, chores, or errands. Breathing deeply into different parts of the body, especially forgotten or tight or numb places, or pained places in their surroundings that have had to do extra work to make up for it. So the compensating locations, for example, if one part hurts, usually somewhere nearby is doing extra work sometimes the pained place is the one that's been doing the extra work. And sometimes it's the surrounding areas that are doing extra. Music, especially Jewish, or what I would call is really like spiritual music, moving, singing along, being softened or energized, feeling my feelings start to flow, taking trips to new places, noticing faces, paying attention to the details, the sequencing. Some people call it like a change of scenery. Some people call it wandering or discovering, what's that other word? Exploring. Letting my Shena body feel safe and the guard mostly down and open to touch, and overlapping with other spaces, like sharing the space. And I think one last, I know I said I'd talk about 3, but I think I want to share this one last topic, that Hashem is the Father I never had. So I'm allowed to have any feelings, fears, preferences, enjoyments, and grievances, memories, paces that I have and still that I do have, and still be worthy of existence in life. Hashem is God, my creator. Hashem is the name for the name, saying we don't even have a proper name. Everyone could say a name, every religion, every different group, but the truth is it's just Hashem, the point, the original. That I get constant attention, listening, presence, and witnessing, that my disabilities or special needs are valid, and that I can express myself, even saying things that are protests or doubts or bargaining without being punished. For example, complaining, praying someone else is punished, withholding, or without being punished or cut off, or withholding service for Hashem because I have unexpected struggle that took time, energy, or status away. And even though I said that was one last one, I want to share one more thing here, which is that this global commitment dysfunction, this idea that I realized how, and I wrote this a year ago, I realized how Michael, someone close to me, he couldn't show up for his daughter. And then this David K., this other person, couldn't show up for his daughter. And Avram Yosef Pearl couldn't see his kids anymore. And Shimon Grady didn't allow his ex to see their mother. His ex, his kids with his ex. To see their mother properly, and many other people I was close to, or maybe still, come from broken homes. It's probably true even more in the outside world of different countries where either kids are parts of the villages, sometimes orphanages, or even in this country, along with others, where people don't sanctify marriage and have kids that way. Or there's a lot of divorce, or sometimes it seems like widespread that people cannot commit to someone properly, fully, totally, entirely. And I'll stop with this topic now. I think I'll do another video because this Friday, even though today is not Friday, I think I'll do another one just for Friday because it's usually pretty, I don't do a video on the Sabbath, but usually it's pretty tight timing on Friday. Like this week we light candles on 4:11 p.m. as far as I know. Even with the 18 minutes, 4:29 p.m. It's very early. There's a lot to do. So I'd rather do this video earlier for Friday and then have time to, clean the toilet and the kitchen counters, and stuff like that, and cook some food, prepare. We have to prepare everything in advance for the Sabbath, for Shabbos. Okay. Anyway, bye-bye. Talk to you soon. Good night.